we are back with South Africa's son, South Africa's one and only, South Africa's warrior, Dricus Du Plessis. Still knocks. How you doing, sir?
Good, thanks, man. So much. Thanks for that introduction, and thanks for having me. Good to be back.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we had you on the show, you was just about preparing for Darren Till at the time.
Yes,
Yes, and you did it at the PI with your boy MSP, a very
kind
very good
words.
friend of our show as well. Um, and it was lovely having you on, and a lot of things that you said at the time. A lot of people counted you at the time as well that you said was going to happen. You predicted some things that this fight could be the fight where he gets caught, and subsequently we saw what happened with that. So
Yes,
then we see you get in there and tangle up with the Bronson again. You did the Lord's work. They threw in the towel. How has it been for you racking up these wins where people are counting you out, but you're still in there racking it up, proving people wrong?
yeah, it feels absolutely amazing. It's especially when you have the self belief that I do, the belief in myself, my abilities, my hard work, and then of course the belief in my team, the people behind me who gives me my coach. When I first knew Gijs, my grappling coach, and my whole team preparing me for this, my team at Team CIT in South Africa, the belief that I have in my team, the belief that they have in me to come out and know that I'm going to do it, and then I go out and I do it and say it. It feels absolutely amazing, and like you say, everybody's counting me out all the time, and it doesn't really matter to me. I've been the favorite and I've been the underdog, and in this fight I'm a massive, massive underdog, and in those fights I was an underdog too. But
Mm.
it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, any odds don't win fights. The guy that steps into the cage at the end of the day wins the fight, no matter how favorite or underdog he is. So it feels great because and this is my dream. I'm living my dream, and being at the top, being the champion is the goal for now. And winning names like Darren Till, Jake Brunson, and fighting a guy like Robert Whittaker now, and that will be the next name on my win list. Is It's absolutely incredible, and I'm loving it.
We absolutely love the tier that you've been on, and the type of character that you are, because look, one thing with anybody that knows you, because we've followed your career for a long time, and most of the UFC fans or even EFC fans, people that have really followed you from your KSW days all the way to EFC, being double champion, and then essentially signing to the UFC. It's been a long journey for you, and the support network that you have, the people that you have behind you, the nation, which is why I introduced you earlier on as son of South Africa, the nation all behind you. What's that feeling like, knowing that you have the backing of an entire country behind you, sometimes even an entire continent? What's that feeling like? Uh, you know, Experiencing something like that, because it's something that very few of us, especially armchair fans like us, experience. But you're in the driver's seat, so you get to experience these things.
Yeah, it's a massive responsibility. I always tell people it's such a big responsibility because people look up to you, and you're carrying a flag. I'm carrying the South African flag on my shoulders every time I go out there, and I'm representing my country and my people
Mm.
and the whole of South Africa and a big part of a continent. And that's a responsibility, but it's also a very, very big privilege, not only a responsibility. It's I fight for that privilege and that honor every time I go out there, and it feels absolutely amazing. It feels like giving up is not an option because I'm fighting for something so much bigger than myself.
Mm.
And the support has been absolutely amazing. Obviously, you get your doubters, you get your haters, even fellow countrymen that don't believe that what you want to achieve is possible. But I'm not trying to convince small minds about my big dreams.
Mm.
I'm there to prove right all the people that believe that I can do what I set out to do, and it's been absolutely amazing. I don't even want to talk about those guys because the positive, the positive has been so overwhelmingly beating the negative. So many positive messages, comments, everything. It feels amazing, and it makes me extremely proud to be here to have achieved what I have achieved so far, and to achieve what is still to come, bringing that goal to South Africa and Africa ultimately.
I mean, your success for me, your rise to where you are now, because it's not just a rise to the UFC no more. It's nothing to do with that. We need to now look at your rise in the rankings, and the names that you've beaten to get there. And like you said, on your way up, you've been underdog again. Here it's the same story, and you have this ability to keep proving everybody wrong. So in this case, one of the things that's probably been lobbied at you is your cardio. I followed your surgery from when you posted it, from even Coach Bonvisor. Shout out to your coach at CIT Boxing and all your teammates over there. Going through that no surgery, and we now know about the oxygen capacity, the oxygen intake that you're able to take now. How has that improved your camp this time from all the
Yeah,
previous camps that you've had?
yeah, the big thing was the airflow was in my nose, especially when I started breathing heavily. There was just no air coming in. I had to breathe solely through my nose, and I never wanted to mention the fact that I have bad cardio because I'm not apologizing for something that works. I don't
Mm,
feel like I want to make any excuses everywhere, anyways. But why would I say make an excuse for something that when I'm winning?
mm,
The big thing was it was very uncomfortable, and in rest rounds when I have my break in between rounds, it definitely started to affect me. The big question when that was brought up is when they asked me why do I look so tired. It's because I can only breathe through my mouth. So hopefully this operation makes it look a little bit better. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be tired when I go in there because if you look at the numbers that I'm putting out, I'm going out there, I'm putting up crazy output. I'm throwing a lot of shots, and I'm throwing a lot of power shots as well. So I don't see that changing anytime soon. But at the end of the day, every camp is better. Every time I step into the cage in the UFC octagon, I feel more at home. And every camp, I just train harder and build up on the results of the previous one. So I honestly believe this will be, and I know this is going to be the best Dricus to ever step in there. And better cardio, better strength, better technique, better everything. And the only way we really know that is by fighting and seeing what happens when I get into that cage. When I go to my training camps, I've never had a camp where I didn't do the work, where I felt unfit, where I didn't feel ready. I always feel extremely sharp, and I always put in the work. So the exact same with this camp. Obviously, fighting a guy like Robert Whittaker for number one contender spot, you do that little bit extra, and you do everything. You try to be as perfect as you possibly can. And for me to be able to put on the performance that I really believe I can and I want to, I need to be perfect, and that's what I'm striving for this fight.
100%. I I I know how hard you work. 'Cause I almost live on your Instagram story and your posts and stuff like you and Cameron. Uh, there's a lot of respect from us to you guys, and
I appreciate
and the
it.
way and the way and the way that you approach your business, the way that you approach the fight game. I love the fact that the things that you do, the steps that you take is inspiring for people that live in third world countries. And I know, obviously, look, there's no getting away from it, from the some of your comments that got misconstrued. The last time you was here, I think you would remember vividly that I said to you, even though that I'm Nigerian, I will still prefer UFC Africa to take place in South Africa. I don't know if you remember me making that statement to you,
Absolutely, I
right?
remember that
I
very
said
clearly.
because I believe the infrastructure is already there. I believe everything over there is like a well-oiled machine, and you know, even give the fighters on such rosters an opportunity to appear on a card like that for UFC Africa. But UFC Africa, EFC is even so much more than that, because they have athletes coming from here in the UK, coming from Canada, coming from Scotland to come and compete in the EFC. So it's already there. So when when you made the statement that you made in terms of doing your trade on home soil, live in South Africa, breathe South African air. Like I remember when I spoke to Jess mon ami. I have the privilege of speaking to a lot of South African
Yeah.
athletes and fighters, and you go around there and you visit their gym at the PFA. We saw the photos that you took in their gym at the PFA gym. Shout
Yes.
out to those guys at PFA SA. So it's the pride. And this is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, what you said got taken way out of context. I think people is beating. It's like a dead horse. They just keep beating the dead horse. But leading up to a fight like this, it's not something that wouldn't come up. I'm just here to also reinforce that I see where you was coming from. I know what you were saying, and I'm fortunate enough to have a little affiliation with some of the fighters over there in South Africa and can really get the context of what you're saying because of what
Yes.
it means to South Africans over there.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you for clearing that, because I mean that's exactly that. It's at the end of the day, I'm extremely proud to represent my country, my continent, and the people that live there. And for me, I come out here, and like I said, I carry that on my back, and I feel that amazing support, and it means the world to me. So for me, saying that was never any disrespect. It was only pride and how proud I am to represent my country.
100%. And look, long may it continue because anything that's doing the best for our continent, we're right behind it. We're always going to be right behind it. Anything that's doing
Amen.
something big for our continent. So let's move on from that. Um, your fight with Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker is a very well respected, fighter in the UFC, especially in the middleweight. We know what his record shows, and if Easy probably went in the division, he probably would have been the champion up until he had more contenders to come along. But the build up to this fight that I've seen, it's not so much as maybe what the Bronson is being like, or even Darren Till. The respect that Robert Whittaker has shown you is definitely way more than the bookies have shown you. I'm telling you that much. Because Robert Whittaker will tell anyone that would listen that he respects you so highly, and because people are underestimating you, is how you've been getting one over them. So
Yeah.
going into this build up here, what's so unique about Robert Whittaker that you're taking into this fight? And if there's a flaw that you think he has, what's that flaw? Not asking you to reveal your game plan or anything, but just
Yeah, I
if you could
think
summarize for us.
I agree with you. Robert Whittaker, obviously a smart man, not underestimating his opponents. And actually, I was quite shocked to realize how many of my opponents have underestimated me, and that's was at their own demise. And I don't think they realize how seriously we take the sport and how seriously we are taking becoming the champion in this weight division.
Mm,
Um, and I think that was for a lot of the guys, they didn't realize the serious threat that I possessed. With Whitaker, he will not be making that mistake. He did take 5 guys to realize, okay, this guy is not joking around.
mm,
But yeah, it's about when it comes to respect with the bookies, all that. Like I said, it doesn't really matter to me if I'm a favorite or the underdog. But you have to realize that a guy like Whitaker hasn't lost to anybody than the champion in what almost 10 years. So he deserves that respect that he's been getting as a favorite and as a crowd favorite, because I was a fan. I've always been a fan of Robert Whittaker myself as a fighter and as a person. I think he's a good guy, but I don't know him personally. But you know, uh, he's always been somebody that I admired when I was still up and coming. But now, it's time to kill your heroes in flight and pass the people that you've been looking up to your whole life. And I'm ready to do that. For me, seeing a flaw in Whitaker's game is extremely hard, because at the end of the day, at this level, seeing flaws and calling it a flaw is really, really hard, because everybody is so good here in
mm,
the top five.
mm,
But the fact that Whitaker almost has this sense of no contender can beat me. I beat all the contenders. The only guy who's ever beaten me is the champ, and he
mm.
has that in his mind. So at some stage, I think it's almost like for him going through the paces up until getting that title shot. And this fight, I can promise you, will not be a fight of going through the paces. I'm going out there to give him the hardest fight of his whole career.
We know you've got that dog, and when I spoke to you before the Darren Till fight, just talking to you and your demeanor, your determination, and your willingness and the way you want it. You kept repeating to us that he don't want it as bad as I do. And I will go out there and I will show these guys they don't want it as bad as me. It's almost been like a mantra for you that these guys do not want it as bad as me. How much does that mantra carrying just that belief in your mind that they don't want it as bad as you? How has that helped you improve in the octagon and maybe help you add more wrinkles, more layers to the tough fighter that you already are?
Yeah, 100%. With the toe fight, obviously I dominated that first round, and then my legs got a little bit shaky in that second. And when that third round came, it was same as the Brad Tavares fight. It was one round for him, one round for me in that third. And it almost, I just came, and that's when you're sitting there in that corner and realizing, how bad do I want this? And that's where you can see how badly I want it. When it seems like I'm down and out, I can just come back. And, even with the Brunson fight, obviously that first round was a tough one. He got that takedown, but in that second round, I just kept on going and until he gave up, because I don't have quits in me. I am not there to quit, and I will not quit. No man will make me quit. And every time I train exactly like that. I train to fight that mental battle in that dark place every time. So when I get in that fight and I go to a dark place, it's nothing new. It feels like every day in the gym. I'm ready to go to a dark place and I feel at home there.
100%. I wanted to shine a little bit of light on your gym and your teammate, because not so many times that this really gets highlighted, because a lot of the times MMA fans only see the finished product in the octagon,
Yes.
and that's it. They don't know how you got there, what you had to do to get there. So I always like to shine a little bit of light and show those guys some love.
And
That
please
people like
do, because they truly deserve it.
100%. People like Coach Munweiser, Jaco Du Plessis just got married recently. Congratulations to him and his new bride, Jay Botha. MSP. You've got a congregation of guys there. What makes CIT so special and so unique to all these other gyms? Even out of Africa. What's made them so special? Because you got a plethora of successful fighters coming out of that gym.
The brotherhood we share there is absolutely a key to our success. And obviously our head coach Monet Fisser, he's the guy that we all respect. He's the boss man. If you don't have respect for a coach, and not only as a coach but in life, he's a guy that we all look up to. He's a guy that we all genuinely respect, and his opinion we value in general life and when it comes to fighting. And then of course, we are all there for a communal goal. Nobody is there because they have to be. And we've been, me and JT and Yaku and Cameron, we've been together since I was 20 years old. I coached them when I was still 20 years old, when I was
Mm,
maybe like 3-0 as a
mhm,
professional. I coached the amateur class,
mm,
and that's how we made it. Now we've been friends, and like all the way from a coach student to being uh, training partners. We train together every day, and
yeah.
it's a. I know if you look at these big gyms, obviously you can go and say, okay, listen, they have 50 sparring partners at a time. We have maybe 15 to 20 guys on the mat. Yes, we do not have the numbers yet, but what we do have is that individual attention of when I'm in camp, my coach looks at me and he can look at everybody individually and say, you need to work on this. Everybody that's in a camp. And we all genuinely want the best for each other.
Mm,
It's such a healthy competitive environment that we are competing, but there's never ever, if there's anybody in our gym that messes with the vibe, we will ask you to leave the gym, because we don't need that. We need people who are like-minded. And Coach Monet always says it best: if you don't want to be a world champion, then get out
mm,
of the gym, because
mm,
that's what he coaches world champions. And yes, sure, not everybody will most likely not everybody will reach that goal. I understand that because very few people will ever reach that goal. But if that's not your mentality, if you're not going in there to at least give it your best as if you want to be the world
mm,
champion, you train like you're a world champion. Even if it's the last fight of your career, you train like you're training for a world title fight every single fight. And if that's not the attitude, you are in the wrong place because we breed champions. And more importantly, we have a champion mentality. When
mm,
we go out there, no matter what the fight, no matter if you're fighting on the prelims, no matter if you're fighting at some no-name promotion, doesn't matter. For us, it's the same thing. If one of us lose, we all lose. You know, for me being the almost a team captain in this sense, it means the absolute world when I go out there to know my team. Those people, they believe in me. There's no doubt in their minds that I can lose that fight. I know that for a fact. They
mm,
don't even doubt me for this much.
mm,
So, to have that trust, for them to have that trust in me, I need to install that trust and I need to prove to them that they were right in trusting me. And, their careers are also in Coach Monet's hands, in my hands, and the guys that because I'm an example. And that is the mutual respect we have for each other. That is the secret to our success.
mm. 100%. A lot of people don't know the hard work, the sacrifice, the mentality, the mindset that you have to really step into the cage to compete at the level that we've seen you guys compete at time and time again. But a promotion like EFC, and you've had the opportunity and the privilege of being in both and on your way to being a champion in your most recent promotion, which is the UFC, but you was champion over EFC as well. What's the similarities and
You know,
maybe differences, subtle similarities and differences in the two promotions in terms of EFC and UFC and how they operate and stuff like that? What are the similarities and differences that you could point out to us?
yeah, it's interesting that you'd say that because UFC is doing an amazing job with what they have, and they've put a lot of people giving them a lot of trouble, but and giving them flack about the shows. But without UFC, I wouldn't have been here. No, none of us, Cameron wouldn't have been here. We all wouldn't have anything. They gave us this platform, and it's such an amazing platform for us in Africa. But similarities wise, like the production in EFC is absolutely amazing, and they don't have to reinvent that wheel, and they're doing the best they can to follow in the footsteps of the bigger promotions and give guys the opportunity to get signed by bigger promotions. And then, in terms of differences, just, in EFC, there's no really criteria. You have to get a pro license and you can fight. Where I believe in the UFC, you see guys that you have to have a certain level of expertise. You have to be great. You have to be something special to get signed to the UFC. So you see a different mindset. 100%. The guys are, everybody that's here believes that they can be the world champion. So it's a very, very more competitive mindset because everybody is there to be a champion. When the EFC, you see a lot of guys, they want to be a fighter, but they don't really realize exactly what it takes to be a champion.
Mm,
And at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Obviously financially, the EFC, they don't have the finances that a massive organization like the UFC have. But the fighters also need to realize that you see a lot of fighters complaining about the pay. I understand it's hard. We all went through that. It's you have to grind a little and bite down on your teeth because at the end of the day, they can't pay you more than they make. And for me, fighters breaking down an organization like the EFC is absolutely terrible because at the end of the day, you have to take pride
mm,
in the EFC. You have to take pride in the company you work for. You have to take pride in believing that you are fighting at the where you are right now. That's the best place for you to be in. The EFC gave me this opportunity, and through EFC, I got to this place where I am right now.
yeah.
So I'm extremely grateful, and I always will be. And I think a lot of fighters need to be a little bit more grateful for the opportunity that I have in fighting in the EFC.
Yeah, fantastic message from you there. To just before we get you out of here, I'm very, very conscious of the time, and thank you so much for the time that you've given us here. You've been very generous with it. Uh, should you get past, and when you get past, it's not even a case of a if. When you do get past Robert Whittaker, Israel Adesanya is my countryman. I'm also a fan of his, but he's out there, doing all this media talk, saying he wants you to win this fight and is wishing you to win this fight and all this other stuff. We know that it's not a case of wishing you to win this fight, because you absolutely want to go out there and show the willingness in you to show them that you want it way more than any of them. When this is all said and done with Robert Whittaker, what does this path of rivalry look for you and Israel Adesanya? How does it manifest itself?
I have no rivalry with him at all. My rivalry is with whoever has my belt.
Right.
At the end of the day, whoever holds that title, that's where my rivalry is at. I don't see him as a person. I don't see the personality. I don't see the rivalry. I only see one thing. He's holding the belt that I want. And that's at the end of the day what it's all about for me.
Yeah.
Is beating whoever I have to get that title. And I don't even want to talk about him right now because he's not on my mind right now. All my attention, all my focus, every single part of my being is directed at Robert Whittaker and beating Robert Whittaker and then earning my shot at that title.
As you should, and rightfully so. And that's probably the best way that we could have ended this interview. Thank you so much, Steel Knox. You've been fantastic with your time, with generosity. We really thank you. You got time for everybody. People don't understand how much you give time to a lot of people, whether it's through your comments on your social media, whenever we drop something in there, whether it's through talking to little media outlets like us. We're doing the big ones. You got time for everyone, and I can't thank you enough for that, man. That's so appreciated.
Brother, I appreciate the kind words so much. Thank you so much for having me. And anytime you need another one, you just let us know, and we'll get back to you. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And up until the next video, we're wishing Steel Knox the very best. We're rooting for you, and we're gonna see you on the next one. Thank you so much, big man. Salute.
Cheers, man. Have a good one.
Hey guys, this is John Anik from the UFC. You're watching the Fight Week Show. Please subscribe. Not now, but right now. Subscribe to the Fight Week Show. We'll see you guys on the road soon.